Evil Geniuses starting out their defense on their own map pick as well. Quite a treat for this squad. FUT with the biggest matchup so far in their careers. And I mean, looking at EG on home turf as well, we'll see how this match unfolds. But it's an uphill battle for the side of FUT, beginning on the attack and looking for some control. They've destroyed the turret, but they've got their sights set on A.
Viper walls making things a little bit more awkward, and while Demon One has just met the Turkish aim, first bullet straight to the head as they look to swarm in onto Jorgamo. Almost manages to get a double straight off the bat. He is going to be a menace throughout this match on the A site, but for now at least, it is going to be the advantage in the favor of FUT. A quick retake being attempted though.
Yeah, just trying to annoy them. Some damage done. Boostio able to catch off. Majin goes out for a bit more. That double might just give them a fighting chance in this. With low HP on Ada Captain, the round might just be theirs, and seconds later it is locked in for EG, America's #1. You've already seen America struggle today, Tom. The eyes are certainly on the Evil Geniuses.
Yeah, one of the things I really want to highlight as well is the last time we actually saw Boostio play a Killjoy versus FUT, he got 35 kills. So he had a pretty good game, so that's definitely going to be someone we have to keep an eye on. I also want to watch the way that EG are actually going to work, because one of the things I feel like T1 really suffered with on this map in particular was respecting the utility of FUT a little bit too much, not baiting out a lot of it early on. So, for example, we saw retakes where FUT still had 3 of those brim smokes. You know, okay, but that's just madness. I don't think EG are going to fall for that same sort of trap, as they are always very good at reading into their opponents. Props to Potter for that one. But for now, at least, we're going to look at FUT with a minuter of an investment. A few pistols, nothing much more. And on the other side, well, a pretty healthy buy.
Yeah, some challenges for EG if they want to take pacier attack rounds. But here on the defense, they're not afraid to put a little bit of that aggression out. Already grabbing the orb up on A long, some good control on the back of it. But they have given up a lot of control around here. The water wide open, and FUT are feeling it out, grabbing all of that control. Thing is, still a decent run from here towards either one of the sites. There's players in between them. Calm. I like the idea. Spamming on the back of the turret contact. It won't get them anything, though.
Yeah, the screen is basically just used to try and make things more awkward for the player fighting around that angle. And you're not going to want to play close when you're up against these pistols. Calm, though, very good at just taking that initial fight, fading away, not over-facing. He has support from Boostio as well, and not giving any real 1v1 fights. They are cleaning things up. It's only going to be the pistol lost, and for Kiwi, 8 HP, definitely not the gun of choice, and as he tries to pick up the other, he will fall as well. Very clean from the side of EG, only a Sheriff lost and nothing more.
Yeah, I mean, that is a textbook follow-up round. The fact that they chose right away to give up the control around mid, knowing FUT would want to poke and prod for it. They don't fight in art. No one gets caught out of position. And consistently, Calm was just taking shots, falling back, grabbing his one, and leaving. I love to see it. Now, this is interesting. Round 3, timer's ticking away, and we're getting towards 0. And there's still an AWP in the hands of Demon One.
Yeah, so Boostio last round just played the pistol so they could save up this extra cash. I don't know if this is something FUT will necessarily be expecting, but with Demon One on the server, I feel like you always have to be that little bit more wary. Again, though, we saw this from the few attack rounds from FUT. They're very happy to take these pacey hits and already walking quite far up towards long. Boostio's going to try and get himself a little bit more aggressive around this corner. That singular smoke place to try and deter them, but Kiwi's going right through it, and he'll find that opener.
Yeah, spotted Boostio on the way through. That's your Killjoy down, a lot of your utility down and out. And already used a Nano Swarm. Now a lot of the weaker weapons are trying to skirmish for this site, and the AWP still miles away. If you lose these other players, you're going to start to think about saving, but Ethan might just have given them a chance. Now they can contemplate fighting for this Kiwi. Incredibly low. 40 HP, a shot out from the AWP. Now they know where Kiwi is. They've got him boxed in, taken down, and Mr. Fallen's on 70. The follow-through round from FUT, this should have been clean. The AWP didn't even play that big of a role, but it might to close it out. It has the angle up top. That smoke soon to fade, and Mr. Fallen left in the open. Good damage done. Jorgamo barely holding on to life, but he'll catch the angle up above. Evil Geniuses not giving an inch to FUT.
And what a huge round as well from Ethan. Now that's the thing, you look at the initial fights that go the way of FUT. You have the entry coming out of Kiwi, getting into the site, the spam battle really didn't work out for them either. And then Ethan just at the back of site gets 2 kills with a stinger, and it allows the time for the rotation of Jorgamo and Demon One. Big round for him, and for FUT. That is an early defeat that they would not have been hoping for. And as we've said, we've seen a lot of very strong defensive halves as of recent when it comes to Pearl, but you still need to get yourself a little bit of wiggle room, and losing the bonus round is not a good place to be.
Yeah, that's not wiggle room whatsoever. They're certainly going to start to feel boxed in. The one upside, Kiwi has a Blade Storm. Look at this, the fact that Demon One's holding that, just what's going through their head. Okay, they've got a Blade Storm. How do we deal with it? Let's hold some of those updraft angles. You know he's going to try a nasty play, and he's already tried it, down to 30 health. Sure, they get control over the B site, but defending it with these kind of weapons is not likely to go well. And with 30 HP on Kiwi, what can you really hope for?
But there's two things that they can hope for. One, Blade Storm maybe works out. The other is Mr. Fallen gets a single kill and he has a lockdown. Other than that, there really isn't a lot to play with in this round already. Getting a lot of information, and those knives are going to be gone for the next few seconds. They are slowly just being picked apart one by one by one. It's looking very easy for the remaining players. Post plant for Moj. He will be able to pick off one already. The spam attempting a little bit more, but now Mr. Fallen, Stinger at a distance. Can't really hope for anything, and again, EG are going to make that one look easy. 4 players alive, finances really growing, and although the time was getting a little bit low, they make it look comfortable.
They absolutely do. 4 players left alive. This round started out probably about as poorly as you'd expect for what was in it, unless Kiwi was to pick up some quick kills, but they played super passive, they gave them the control, and in the end, they reaped the rewards. Patient play from Evil Geniuses, and 4 rounds to 0. But a buy round coming up for FUT, a lockdown in play on both sides. Could end up just canceling each other out, but I'm looking at Calm just 1 away from grabbing that Hunter's Fury as well. So if he's able to grab an early pick, things could start to look a lot better for them with an immediate counter available.
Yeah, it's funny as well. I think Demon 1, his positioning in the early rounds, unlucky. They have gone B the last few. He's been on A. Now he's finally on B, and they are lurking through mid and wrapping around onto A. In fact, Com's position was one almost placed ready for Kiwi as he does wrap back round, potentially looking to go to spawn or even hit into R, but he's going to be spotted by the drone. I think maybe even caught a little bit off guard by the fact that they are prepared for somebody to be this far forward. And with the remaining players back of sight, even though the ground has been taken for FUT, the value of it, well, it seems like EG's almost given it to them.
Yeah, again, in effect, when they come to pushing the site, because of how passive EG are, they've just given up art, right? It's not as bad as you might think, because FUT have nowhere to pivot to take that space off of slightly missing the timing on that right click. The knife caught him. Ability suppressed for just a moment. Spams through, nothing found. Kiwi biding his time as the shock dart lands. Next planter steps up to the plate. We'll see what they can do. A nade on its way, but they haven't accounted for Kiwi. The double up close, the reward found. He's going to fight further into spawn for his 3rd. Still holding control. That lockdown, sure, it presents a serious danger for him. Not so much as the bullets, but he's bought time. He's bought space for his squad now, positioned in Ard and main, and with just 1 man on the other side, Demon 1. Seems to be a near impossible clutch just with the time on the clock. He has to try to find some kills first. Spotting 1 player, suspecting the second. Great read on this situation. But Maj just falls back, toying with the timer and winning it out in the end. The first for FUT is found.
Yeah, it took them a little bit, and well, ultimately took a huge round out from Kiwi. Someone just going a little bit unchecked around the edges of the smoke, but it's one that we'll wait and see how often he's going to be able to pull off something like that, because it's still a very, very long way to go. Even still, actually starting to look at the finances for FUT, even just not keeping that one squeaky clean now means that Mr. Fallen is going to be left with just an SMG for this round. So they may have finally found themselves on the board, but the troubles definitely aren't over just yet.
Anything but. And we saw this recon through in the previous round. This time, oh my, it's catching a lot of information. But the follow through, okay, Jogamo's got his 2nd. Here comes the Hunter's Fury. Tagging them up on the way through, making them a little bit easier to follow up on as Jogamo catches yet another kill. The spike, the last to fall. And a very quick response from EG. They lose a round, and they give them seconds to give it right back. It's a strong lead. And we've seen this a couple of times, the idea of popping up the flash, following through with the recon as well. Didn't quite net them as much value as this time around, though.
Yeah, this is something that's been spoken about throughout the tournament so far, and that is that every time Com has a Hunter's Fury, he gets value from it. I think normally it's a multi-frag. This time, maybe not so much, but the amount of damage he was able to do, the disarray he was able to cause, and more so, just the fact that Jorgamo is such a menace when it comes to this A site. It's definitely an issue. Pressure again being placed into mid. Demon 1 goes back for more. Hoping to try and find that extra little bit of damage. Spam trying to deny Kiwi the opportunity to get that operator, and it actually has. I thought he was going to continue that push, but backs away.
Yeah, maybe worried about a second player following through at any moment. I'm not sure, but they've left it on the floor for now. A valuable weapon for this squad. Instead, maybe looking for this orb. They could get the Blade Storm online right here and now, hold the long-range angles. You know the op's not in the round. Good idea. Now, last time around, Kiwi wasn't able to get up to all too much. This Blade Storm didn't have quite the same impact as we've seen. His mobility already out of the game. His updraft used up. So he won't be a menace up and around these smokes anymore, but he doesn't need to be. A lockdown buys them all the space. And through the smoke, well, let's add another tally to the counter in the audience. FUT on the back foot now for sure.
But yeah, the nano was just to buy them back. They are popping everything. So many ults being thrown into the round, and it might not even be enough. The man advantage going back, but at least Krax has been able to hit a nice shot, giving them an opportunity. The close angle is so important, but Jorgamo still just going strong, leaving 2 remaining. Both with Sheriffs hiding within this Viper Spear. Krax has managed to double, but still comes down to 1. And Com will not allow the mischievous FUT to get away with anything.
What an incredible effort with Sheriffs nonetheless. But the time not quite as close as it needed to be. If Kiwi was alive a few more seconds, that stray shot through the smoke doesn't catch him. Who knows? Who knows? But 6-1 nonetheless. And despite a little bit of a stumble, I don't even know if I want to blame that on them realistically. What can you do about a player hitting shots like that? And we've seen this from Krax in the opening series as well. He was unbelievable. But it's not enough this time. And FUT, having invested a lot of their lower, like some of their ultis, Blade Storm, Viper's Pit as well, they're going to decide this time to call a pause. They've got to play it with their rifles and run it down on more conventional turf. So far, that's been where EG's come ahead.
I think as well, just maybe some of the players having quieter performances. Moj was probably the best player when they played Pearl last time out, only with a couple of kills at the moment. Add a captain. Okay, we've seen him be an assist king before and then slowly come into the game, but they're going to need it a little bit earlier this time around. As said, like we've seen them have an incredible defensive half, and the attack we didn't get to witness because they were so dominant last time out, but this is now starting to become a bit of a danger. I think all the pieces looking like they're there at the moment for the side of EG. Jorgamo's still causing problems. Com has been unreal so far, winning them that Red Bull clutch in the previous round. And for FUT, realizing they're at least going to want, say, 4 or 5 rounds if they are going to have themselves an opportunity in that second half. So just taking themselves that timeout. And you have to bear in mind, that last round was them using 3 ultimates. Yeah, sure, the investment wasn't that heavy in terms of the rifles. They only had pistols for the majority, but when you loot all of those ults and you don't get a victory, that's more of a problem.
Yeah, that's what it's about, right? Like, they still have the money to buy up here, and the Blade Storm being gone, you won't bat an eye at, but it's the rest of the ultis that went through.
Again?
And this guy, Boostio, another kill, just spamming through smokes. It's Mr. Fallen to go down this time, and the immediate response from FUT. They're quickening the pace. They're moving into the B side now, hidden here.
There's a smoke.
Still Boostio behind the smoke. This is where he's most deadly. Gonna be blinded up again. The flash through, it's caught him, and they found him, rooted him out. In the meantime, though, Add a captain deleted in the attempt to plant the spike. Now gonna be run back a couple more seconds. It's down in the open, has to be retrieved.
That's the thing. It seems with EG, there's never a man left behind. Such good use of the fragment. You can see already Krax on his last lease of life. They're gonna have to use the poison orb just to try and give them a spot to plant him, but now the full rotation has come through. The entirety of EG are ready and raring to go, but Kiwi's at least even things up for a second.
Yeah, and now look at his HP down to 16. Shock Darts hunting down both of these low players. Maj found. Kiwi has to turn up, only good for the one. Krax tries to fade away, dodging bullets. Just one needed to take him down. He is so desperately low, and they're coming so close to finding him. The bun seen up above, but he doesn't realize it, turning at the last moment. And giving Demon One that final kill, that 7th round now locked in for the side of EG.
It just seems like every single time that FUT managed to find a kill, there's a cost fallacy. Like, be it someone getting wallbanged by an operator, a Com diving through the smoke to trade out his teammates, the fragment onto the spike. Like, there's always damage being achieved by EG. Their utility has been sublime, but even just their timing and synergy has been one of the main differences so far in this matchup. 7-1 in the lead over on this defensive side. Again, we're going to be back down to very little. An orbital strike for Adacaptain that's been sitting there for a while. And in this sort of round, would you even use it?
Opportunity would have to present itself. For now, that's not the case. Slow approach from EG. They even wanted to get a little aggressive to start, but once they see this wall go down, that space taken, they're going to give it up. Play a little bit more passive. And that op on the corner is suspected. You can see the jump peaks, but now taking the wider angle. Great reading of how this round is breathing out. Flash unfortunately caught Maj there as well, so there was no follow through.
Okay, constantly once more. For the rest of FUT, starting to, again, go back to the same take. They've been splitting back through B every single time. Com and Boostio have been having a field day. Again, going to be tagging up the information. Boostio just waiting to swing off his teammates' contact. Supportive shock darts, but Adacaptain, he's on the board. But there is the dart straight through. Com's utility has been almost as good as his fragging power throughout this game so far. Unfortunately, he doesn't get assists for his own kills. But he is going to find the wallbang. This site is just locked out. And Maj, well, he's finally going to take one, but as said, the trade is immediate. This is so clean from EG.
And from the first time we saw this guy on the international stage, a man that is calm, 12-4 right now. I've been a big fan of him. He might have been one of the first players picking up the Odin. That might have been why initially, but his support play and his patience, always a treat to watch. The Demon One paired up with him, it's a deadly duo. And even look at the damage, right? Adacaptain found that kill that we saw on the board just seconds ago, but it left him on 55 HP after running through Boostio's Nano Swarm. I think even being tagged through the wall beforehand. At that point, yeah, it's an easy follow through when he goes for the plant. And this is the thing, no matter what happens to EG, even when they're losing a player, the dominoes have already started to fall.
As said, it's that cost fallacy. And
every time.
Here we go. A chance. Demon One is going to go back for a little bit more. I've noted as well that we spoke about Adacaptain yesterday. I think it was 20 assists and a half.
Yes.
Ethan's already on 13, so he's looking to try and beat him.
Jealous.
Again, they're going to split through R in towards this A site. A lot of counter utility in an attempt to try and slow them down. Lockdown even available as well for Boostio if he decides to use it. And Hunter's Fury, as said, Com, he always finds something. And with the lockdown in tow, Adacaptain has at least found one. Not quite clearing Ethan, but even still, they keep the advantage for a moment.
Neck and neck at least with FUT grabbing the plant. Orbital strike used, so not online. It's just a Blade Storm that's charging in and taken down. Shot out of the sky by Krax, but there's a response. Com not letting this one slip. They've got to push forward. A vague idea of where Krax is, perhaps Mr. Fallen, though. It's revealed moments ago. Putting those pieces together for EG. They'll look to peek this one. Oh my god, the damage is incredible. Cracks down to just a sliver of health. Now the last man standing, double peeked and dealt with. A triple for Ethan. As they push up to 9, this lead can't stop extending for Evil Geniuses.
It's just ridiculous. Another Red Bull clutch, and I feel like we're just going to be brown-nosing Com at this point, but he even uses the dart to fake out as his teammate peaks. It's just disgusting. The synergy between these players is just unmatched, and right now, it seems like FUT just can't quite deal with it, even in the clutch situations. And that was one of the things, I think, in the series versus T1, they won, I think it was 7 1vx's over a very short amount of time, considering the match wasn't very long at all. They're not winning any of them here. 9-1.
And
it is EG's map choice, but this has been a map they were comfortable to play on the FUT side.
EG's map choice and FUT's side choice.
Yeah.
They wanted to begin on attack, so sure, we can read into it as yesterday we saw their defense, we know that it's strong, no doubt about it. But it's gonna have to be real strong if this keeps up, and even then, if it stops right here and now, 9-3 at best on the half, it's a tough scoreline to recover from. For now, patience, again, on display for the side of EG. FUT, this is probably one of the slower attempts. We're going to see them again wrestle for that map control with a minute on the clock, destroy that turret, same thing they've been doing in a lot of these rounds, and then Kiwi goes walkabouts. With the fact that you still have players on either extremity, this isn't a game plan right now. That they're trying to find options.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Every time there's been space left for EG, it's been left intentionally. It's not like there's been any gaps found. That's a big kill, though. Com going walkabouts and a captain being able to take him out. Boostio left with absolutely no support. He needs to be a hero here, but he's not even checked on. He's managed to find a couple, of course. The second player in cracks can be brought back from the depths, but that's going to take time.
30 seconds left.
And that time gives a moment. Look at Demon 1. He's trying to watch for that exact position. The spam does a lot of damage, and then Ethan finds him anyway. They'll finally get themselves into that after plant, and for the first time in a while, it looks like a possible round for FUT. But we'll see if they can take it.
I really like that from Ethan, just holding the lineup that whole time, waiting for the res to come through. Hoping to get both. The play out. Ethan, no flashes. They got to just dry peek those angles, lose a lot of HP in the process. Demon 1 down low, doesn't stop him from eliminating Maj. They still need to root out Mr. Fallen, who's just swung out wide, looking to take the fights. Lockdown in play, on the way. The swing needs to come in. Mr. Fallen, it's being diffused right under his nose. And now the stick, it'll get close, but the detain interrupts. Timing now, everything, and that spike is already quite far gone. I think Ethan's realizing now, trying to back away, but it was way too late.
Well, I don't think you're going to see a round victory like that too often. A player getting the spike to half. He basically was just hoping his opponent wouldn't peek, but Mr. Fallen played that to perfection. Finally seeing a second round onto the board for FUT, and another Red Bull clutch coming out in their favor this time around. Nonetheless, it is still an absolute mountain to climb for FUT. This last round is more than a necessity, and well, you mentioned your...
You know, I mean, what were his choices there? To lose the round a different way, realistically? Yeah, I think he probably played the only way that he gets away with it.
Yeah.
Just sticking it. Didn't work out. Unlucky. Now you move on to the final round of the half. 9-2 on the scoreline. FUT still possible to push up to 3 to maybe hope for the curse at best. For this 12th round, FUT much more decisive on where they want to go, feeling out that A pressure. And they'll instead look to take it this way. What I talked about Calm earlier, my boy taking out the Odin way, way back. And he'll make it work again. They're also triple stacked up on B.
So much info. So much info. 3 players spotted by the drone. And look at the wraparound from Demon 1. Yeah, the pause. I think just knowing that their opponent has that information, but it means they're slowly being boxed in. Timing here could be everything.
No one's watching it.
Yeah, he's looking back and forth, but he's instead gonna walk back! I don't know how Moj has managed to get away with that one, and now Orbital Strike leaves Com dead to rights. Finally a chance once again, but then strikes Ethan. Another one coming up for Boostio, but it's left all onto Jorgamo. The player wrapping back around. FUT have an advantage once again. The spam is ridiculous, but Moj, waking up finally, will make this one a 9-3 half. It was squeaky in the end, but even still, at least FUT got something. The fact is EG is so far in the lead here.
Yeah, EG have got to be feeling incredibly confident with the half that they've just displayed here. They chose the map. FUT maybe threw in a curveball by switching it up and deciding to play instead on that attacking side. It hasn't worked out very well for them to boot. We know their defense can be stronger, but for now, EG seem to have it in the bag, Tom.
And they deliver. 9-3 up. Looking absolutely incredible right now. And I'll be honest, Boostio hasn't really needed to drop 35 kills this time, because right now the whole team is just above and beyond. We're looking to see if FUT can have that same defensive half as last time. 3 rounds currently on the board. They managed a 9-3 half versus T1, but they're going to need to I feel like step it up to a higher gear. And already, just look at the sheer pace coming out from EG straight down in towards that mid connector.
Yeah, FUT had some pace too, but didn't catch anyone, and they're a little late to the party. Now on B long, there's a couple players coming down. Will they even read that? Will there be anyone left alive to read it? Low HP now, stuck in the corner. Demon 1's also being tagged up, but that won't stop him yet again. Able to deliver kill after kill. The shutdown is there with a back and forth for FUT. They're overextending into this, knowing the spike needs to be planted. They try to interrupt it, and, well, they've succeeded. A pistol round for FUT at long last.
Yeah, one that was necessary. It has to be said. If they're going to turn this on its head, they needed to get themselves this pistol round. Definitely a close one, and with the way that Com's been playing, I wouldn't have been surprised if he was able to close that one out. But for this round at least, they're not going to be able to invest too much into it. A few sheriffs, a chance to do a little bit of damage, and on the other side of things, investing into 3 rifles, just trying to make sure that this one isn't going to go astray. A couple of players with the light shields, though, so we'll see. Maybe there's a couple of opportunities to capitalize.
Yeah, damage could be done. Not seeing a Marshal or anything in here for the attacking side. Obviously going to be a bit of an issue if you are going for control over B long. Probably going to want to have that long-range weapon. Instead, smoking it all, feigning out presence, fighting for orbs. Even some Sheriff battles for Boostio. He's trying to sneak his way in. And a lot of this round can even just be seeing how FUT like to set up in these initial rounds on their defense. You're catching out where the turret is, obviously a different spot to what EG had been putting down on their own defensive side. But then when it comes down to crunch time, to actually taking a site, you might be diving headfirst into a meat grinder, but they've actually managed to take a few teeth out of that grinder. Look at the A site. It's stacked up now because of the feigned control. They went to B first, moved back to A. It looked like a simple enough round. But now as they again shift focus to the B site, they should find this much more open.
Yeah, I like the fact, though, that FUT are just basically doing exactly the same as we saw from their opponents in the prior half, just sitting very passively, not really giving any opportunities for individual fights.
Left.
Not allowing that close range of the weaponry. Okay, peekaboo. See you later, Mr. Farland. And at the back of the site, a firing squad, but they might even try and wrap back around. Demon 1 is trying to hold off those rotations. Not a lot of time for them to get this plant in, though. As it begins, the spam's going to be coming through, but it seems like he's managed to get it. The thing is, though, the full force of FUT is barreling down on this team, and it will be a cleanup in the end. A single kill, a plant for at least a little bit extra, but ultimately we will have a competitive FUT in the next round.
This was the round that was expected, was anticipated. Yeah. A few curveballs there. I mean, if the clock wasn't so low, maybe you wouldn't have as much of a rotation played out previously, but you wouldn't have seen Demon 1 give up that spot in heaven quite as quickly. Maybe he catches one off guard, and, well, the second he gets a weapon in his hand, everything can flip on its head. This is the round where they will truly fight for it, and just looking at the positions of some of these players on FUT, it looks like they want that aggression up through A main once more, maybe posting Kiwi up to hold the control, but EG have no intention of giving them a fight there.
No, early default just being held. A little bit of aggression from the defenders. They're going to get that orbital strike online very early on, and the spam from Mr. Fallen and Moj has at least done a little bit of chip damage. Ultimately, that control has gone the way of EG, though. Not going to allow that push up on one side of the map. And you can see the patience of Boostio just watching for any aggression. Just making sure that there's not going to be any cheeky business, especially in a round like this where it's kind of expected because of the slightly weaker weaponry.
Kiwi's jiggle peek will be spotted momentarily. Boostio even goes in for the pre-fire. That could have been very dangerous indeed. I guess the idea being that by showing that presence, he'll fall back. He'll start to concede the control. And instead, he stayed up. Kiwi seeing that no one's coming around that corner, so they'll stay in position. 3 players still on B, lined up in the open. Demon 1 the first to fall. Good tag and follow through. Mr. Fallen already good for 2. And Jogamo is low. He has to be so cautious and going for those fights. The body was the only target needed, but it won't land.
And that's the thing, because they've managed to go through arc, this is going to be an interesting battle of timing. Kiwi's push-up, if he goes any further, he might catch Jorgamo. And he spotted him out, the damage is done, but the spike is already hightailing its way in towards the A site. They haven't spotted the players making their way through middle, so if anything, FUT might just believe they have them trapped in, and instead, it's going to have to be the full retake.
And the problem is how much space they've given up. They'll have to take a while on the way back through or risk a player being in a corner that they can't anticipate. Jogamo's very low. 12 HP on the way around. Better get that turret before it gets you. That came so close with a nano at his feet as well. But he's out of there with 6.
Yeah, unfortunately, the aggression of Boostio has been punished. This bonus round for FUT is looking good other than the HP. A lot of very low players. Ethan already takes the first. The orbital strike will push in. Oh, but he lands him up, leaving just Kiwi remaining. He knows where both players are. Takes a lot of damage on the way back. And EG from the depths of hell rise once again. FUT, they look like they had that one, but somehow America's #1 strikes once more.
Well, that was a game of inches right there, and unbelievable to see EG taking strides by miles. Ethan's repositioning even. They thought they had him boxed in. And of course, because why would he have pushed back out? He should be going for the spawn control, trying to take that space. But he moved back towards his teammate, and wow.
At one point in this game, I think he was 4 and 3 and 13 assists. He's now 16 and 7 and 14 assists. So his assists have slowed down a little bit, I'll say that. But he hasn't really needed to assist anyone. He's been finding all of the frags himself.
Yeah, last few rounds, bad teammate, better player. What can you say? 16th round. FUT have been struggling. And
that was the way back in. That was the door opening up for them to have a chance.
1 HP. Boostio finally losing a spam battle. Not through the smoke, though. It was through the door. That's the difference.
He's going to headshot someone through a smoke now. We're all going to look silly.
It's going to be the play. Well, here's ulti popped. Control taken. Straight down towards the B site. Killjoy utility protecting their back, but it does look like they want to commit, at least commit Demon 1 to this. As he seeks out a fight. Maj is forced back. There's a player up above in the form of Mr. Fallen. He's on the edge of the smoke. Hasn't come through just yet. Just spams. That's all he's looking for with his Phantom. No tracers, so good opportunities. Nade out. Oh, Nade is good. And Maj is even better. The spam's now going in their favor, and it seems like FUT have found a foothold on this round.
Yeah, this is where it gets troublesome. You have to try and reposition and find a safe place to plant, and with all the spams, all the different angles, every player rotating in, there just isn't a safe position. They need someone to give them the fights, and well, the 1 HP player from the beginning of the round, it would be the greatest clutch ever. If he somehow wins this one, we're going to be writing it in the history books, but with 15 seconds left, no spike, and all the players just watching him, it will be Boostio
10 seconds
just
left.
hiding, cowering back, and holding onto his weapon.
Well, they have an idea where he is, but I think most are too far away to really have a chance.
Now.
You just got to watch that nano. Okay, it's popped a little bit early. It's not quite going to catch him. And he's managed to save that weapon through. Nicely done, considering the economy of EG. You can definitely use that little bit of a boost. But they're going to call a timeout. And I'm not too surprised. Look, this round here, they didn't really get a chance to see anybody. Just taken down through those smokes. And
yeah,
Boostio might have an anti-strap for that.
Well, that's the thing. There's the Prime Gaming Flawless coming out from FUT. A great way to sort of break back into the round, keeping all of those weapons, building up some finances, and on the other side of things, it starts to get a little bit dicey. You've got that 1 saved weapon. Jorgamo could potentially invest in a little bit. What do you mean? I'm right here.
Eggman. Now, we've got a few.
Yeah, there are a few. Paperthin's going to be coming later on as well, so, you know. Plenty of bald people going to be gracing this stage, but for now at least, time taken from EG just to try and figure out. Like, that's the thing, they've got plenty of time to play with. This is something that has already been well within their wheelhouse, adapting on the fly. Credit given to Potter. Any doubters silenced quite a while ago, it seems. We're going to be getting right back into things. That said, this round in particular, okay, you've got yourself the Blade Storm onto Demon 1. You've got yourself that saved rifle from Boostio, but the rest of the team are going to be left with very little. Maybe if Com gets himself the Hunter's Fury, I'm starting to be a little bit of a believer. As said, he's always good for 1 at a minimum, but other than that, you kind of expect this one to be more of the same from FUT.
A little bit of a healthy bankroll built up. You know, we saw the flashes up and over from EG defensive side. This is very much how they like to take the control. They'll do the same thing here on the attack. Even the recon through just to clear out those extra angles up behind the boxes. unfortunately, Jogamo's gone walkabouts in the wrong place. Now, look, there's not a whole lot to play with here for the side of EG. It's going to be Demon 1 that takes your focus. And it takes theirs as well. FUT picking him out of the sky. And you can't pick those knives back up.
Boostio now becomes the main focus of this round. See how much damage he can possibly achieve. Again, a few tagged players behind the box, but you feel like that'd have to be more of a mistake from the Turkish roster rather than anything else. They seem acutely aware that this position has been lost, and with the cross being held by Moj, it would mostly come down to awful timing from them, and there it is! That's as bad as timing could get. Mr. Farlin is going to quickly find the trade, and now Ethan is all that's left. 35 seconds, Spike to be retrieved, and his opponent of Anna Captain just sitting back and waiting.
Yeah, very patient play like we talked about the other day from FUT. Their discipline definitely being worked on the past couple months since their last international appearance even. The payoff is there. Another round found, well handled. They start to build up on that lead, 3 behind on their defensive side. And as we said, this is where they found their plethora of rounds before. So the story is starting to add up to a FUT comeback, but this is where EG have a full buy.
Yeah, there's still 3 rounds in the lead, and as you said, this is where the rifles will be coming in for them. Also, that Hunter's Fury online, always a threat, but a lockdown on the other side. It might just have to be used for a counter, and not wanting that coming through in a late round retake. The build-up, though, is going to come in towards the B site, and that's where Kiwi is waiting an instant pop flash just to try and delay them off. The same on the other side, and it's close, but a miss.
But Demon 1 hasn't been deterred either. Look, he's just running it down. Trying to take all that space while they hunt down Kiwi. This guy is ridiculous with the Hunter's Furies. Calm just doesn't miss. With that man down, well, you're not too worried about Kiwi picking up the op and picking you up. They can look towards the B site, and they've at least faded out the lockdown with 1:05 on the clock. They can just wait it out.
Yeah, with 3 players already here, at the solo defender on the A site, EG are just gonna pump the brakes, wait this one out a little bit longer. Operator's actually gonna be going back in this time. It's found new hands, new blood in the form of Moj. He's not gonna hit the shot either, leaving them in a dicey position. Rifle retrieved, but still, EG are just waiting, being delayed by the util on the other side.
35 seconds left. They're going to have to make a move eventually, not knowing how many players are on the back of that side towards the elbow. Boostio finds the first. That's Moj. They know that Krax was around here, and they'll deal with him. And with that, well, it looks like a pretty easy site take. Not too many players left alive to spam back, and the plant's already being found. Lockdown if things get very scary, but with only 2 players that they're up against, and the positions that they've got, I mean, all the control is theirs. They can run this clock right the way down. And there you go, Boostio's third seems to lock it in. Nice try by Anna Captain. I don't know where that second kill came from. The result is the same, 11 for EG, now 2 away from locking in this map.
Yeah, and this was something mentioned when it came to the desk yesterday. Obviously, we were lucky to have Baby Bay here, and he was mentioning the fact that when they were playing this last time, T1, or a lot of the time, were just going for these really pacey hits and giving them so much util ready for the retake. EG, on the other hand, just very happy to take themselves a pause. Like, just stopping within that position and just waiting for anybody to make a mistake. Moj ends up going for a re-peek, hoping to try and find something, and then you don't have that same retake capability. And while it may have been EG taking a pause within the round, it's FUT now going to slow things down for the moment. Try and find a solution. They are only 4 rounds behind, and as we've mentioned, they have been very good on this defensive side the prior time we've seen at this tournament. Even still, though, you do have to feel like a couple of solutions will eventually be found by EG.
That's the thing, right? Like, FUT's way back in. It's the pistol round gives them that injection of rounds. They lose the third. They follow back with a bit of a fight. But even if it continues like this, you're still going to see EG walk across the line. It has to be near flawless on the fight back in. Only a 4-round deficit, but that's a lot when you're up against this attacking side of EG.
I've just been watching Demon 1 just slowly tracking the head of Boostio with his operator. Doing a little bit of drawing while we wait. They've actually given the operator over to Boostio, making me think this is going to be a much more explosive round, especially considering your opponents have just taken a pause, trying to adapt for your slow pace of round, waiting. Just a burst play into the site might not be something they'll be expecting. Maybe thinking of holding that utility a little bit longer, and already you can see just the instant pop flash setup and that smoke being baited out immediately from the side of Adacaptain. He can't just allow them to burst into that site.
Yeah, get the sense just looking at EG's setup that they're trying to bait out the push-up on B, right? This whole round, you've got Jogamo. We saw Adacaptain have success with it and failure with it in the similar position. You make early presence on A, you push up, you give them control, and you hope that they fall into your lap afterwards. But what has happened is they've pushed middle on the side of FUT, taken the control, heard the turret get called back, heard the rotations come through, and should have a good idea of this B-site play that's about to unfold. But the rotations on their own side have taken a little bit. Actually, it looks like they even thought it was A. They just cleared it out now, realizing it, but the players aren't going to be here on time. This is going to be tough to actually, well, they're able to wait outside the lockdown, so maybe this will work out. They've got a flanker as well, Maj containing them, who hasn't been spotted just yet.
He was hoping that he'd be able to find one before they get in. The Molotov has done work to deny at least a little bit longer, but the site is going to fall into the hands of the evil geniuses. Adacaptain trying to make a play through, and Moj will be the one to do it instead. The trades back, leave it down to just Boostio. Still with that operator in hand, and he's going to get destroyed by Kiwi. An 8th round onto the board for FUT. A solid hold on the side of B, and well, this climb back looks to continue. Luckily, I was going to say there's enough finances, but it still seems like they're going to have to go a little bit lower than they'd like on EG.
Yeah, maybe. There's definitely going to be weaknesses there. I think on the side of FUT last round, really good idea. You can see that they're putting the pieces together as the round goes on. 3-man stack on A. One guy pushed up mid. Hear the rotations. Misread, thinking that it's the A side. But then the fact that Maj, right after I said he hadn't been spotted, he destroyed the alarm bot and went running all the way back around. It puts a sense of urgency in the attacker's boots. They're thinking the flank is coming in. We need to either catch him and adapt or rush the site before those rotations come all the way through. And they end up running right into Maj, who'd very quickly rotated and was there to back up his buddies. It's an 8th round. Building blocks starting to form. That EG want to knock that castle down and leave FUT stranded, having to reverse sweep it starting on Bind. We're going to see the contact on Maj, but he's smoked off. Doesn't really have an opportunity to do anything still. Again? Like Boostio to 1 HP.
It's the exact same. He just seems to survive. And, oh, Timmy the turret almost had. He's been a little bit unlucky. There we go.
He's got it.
Timmy's gone. Not going to be surviving any further in this one. Boostio, he's either the unluckiest or the luckiest. It depends what way you look at it. He's surviving, but only just. The defenders also aren't just sitting there. They're not waiting to lose all of this map control. Adacaptain's starting to push up, but now they start to get pressured from Art through the smoke. They go, though, and it's a good chance for Cracks to farm up a few extra kills. Again, it's Boostio. 1v5. Not quite. No, not quite. Not quite. So, he was almost there.
Coming out of this round, I mean, obviously FUT are building up bank. They don't have much of a chance to stumble, really, to catch themselves. But it's the 3 ultis online as well. That Viper's Pit and the Orbital Strike could be game changers for this defensive side. And if paced out correctly, might make it most of the way towards equalizing at least. It's been promising these last couple, but again, the rifles come back out for EG.
That's the thing. I feel like, again, similarly, Adacaptain's slow start, fragging-wise, is coming back into this game. The amount of delay he's able to put in on this A site makes it very difficult for EG to actually take a lot of that space. It seems like the contact from Maj in middle, and then the aggression consistently surrounding the map, it makes it very difficult for EG to somewhat find this space. And as of right now, they've struggled to string any rounds together. They're going to use a lot of utility to take control of mid once again. Kiwi, wow, he's going to find himself in a bit of an odd spot. They've used this utility to try and almost section off into mid, but instead he's getting pressured on the other side.
Yeah, and his teammates can't really come out to help just because they're being pressured as well. Kiwi on an island, isolated, you would think. in trouble, but Maj manages to buy the time. The orbital strike cut off the rest of the squad and let this man fight from the hallway. He is decimating the EG squad. 4 kills found, and FUT up to double digits now, hot on EG's heels.
Yeah, there's always the question of when do you start to believe that a team is going to be able to turn this one around, and I think we might be getting to that point right about now. 10 rounds on the board, double digits for FUT, and more so, more importantly for me at least, we're seeing those superstars come online. Moj on this defense has again been a menace, the same as last time out, just starting evidently on his weaker side, and EG just slowly, this was 9-3. They're watching their lead crumble away. A pistol round might have been enough to just close out this game completely.
It would have.
An early shock dart put through to try and destroy Killjoy utility, but it is more of a ruse than anything else, as they are, as a 3 core, just making their way in towards this A site. It's a double up though. They are waiting. Or being collected by Com. I don't mind that at all. It is impact paramount whenever they have that ult online, but it's still a little bit away. As are all of their ults, in fact. None of their ults are close to being online, other than Com's, which is 3 orbs off.
It's a conventional round. I think we're seeing the stack up towards the A site because Maj has Viper's Pit, the confidence to play with it, Operator holding down B long. So that's just 2 people, 2 places that they've got to hold, and then the rest of the squad waits for the, I guess, what they hope, what they expect to be coming through, which is an A play. They've read it correctly to start. They've got their Killjoy utility in play. Mr. Fallen, Ada Captain, and Cracks all close by. Molly and Fragment to keep them back outside of the nanos. Some of that utility will be countered out, unfortunately, but they've still got the manpower here to take those fights and convincingly close out this round, you would think. Mr. Fallen, very low on HP, still going for fights done. All right, right click onto Jogamo. He was only 5 HP. That'll go 11-11. That round wasn't one we thought EG would compete in. They really didn't. But now is their chance to put that round on the board and, well, once again, separate themselves from this FUT squad. It's their bye round, and losing this, Tom, the squad that's been leading the whole game, would then be potentially facing down a 13-11 scoreline, a map stolen out from right under their nose.
Yeah, the scary thing as well is after this we then head into Bind, which I don't know if people remember last time out, they were playing a Reina and a Chamber. It was definitely one of their weirder comps, an attempt to try and catch Fnatic off guard in that grand final that they played in Tokyo, but I assume they will have gone back to the drawing board, otherwise they probably would have just banned it straight out. But to be testing that first time versus a deadly FUT squad, a map down, that would be devastating. And all the way from being 9-3 in the lead, the only round they have won is 18 excluding the bonus, which again, you kind of expect them to be winning the bonus round. The fact is though, they're giving Potter that opportunity. Now guys on the other side is going to have the same opportunity to try and maybe level the minds of the squad, but you are seeing just that depth of FUT. 2 kills between top and bottom, everybody now performing on that other side, and I'm looking at Demon One. He is someone who we know can take over matches, who can win them rounds on an individual scale. He's sat at the bottom at the moment, not by a lot, but this would be a time for him to have one of those hero rounds. Definitely tougher, though, coming into that attack.
Well, the America's #1 seed already taken the distance. It's going to be all the rounds, and maybe some more. The side of FUT on the defense, 3 stack up on B. Same old setup. Same old approach from this squad. Again, you'll see that Viper orb in play, blocking out control over the double doors for the side of FUT as they stick with a 2-man hold of B. Shifting late, not even late into the round, very early into the round, they've abandoned A. Maybe sensing out how slow some of these pushes have been for EG, or expecting them to have a bit of an adaptation rather than coming through Ard and main, that they'll look for control elsewhere on the map that can be punished.
Again, almost selling some information in towards this B site, trying to bait their opponents into the belief that they're there. The orb take will get Com ever closer. They clearly value that ultimate highly. They've been building towards it over the last couple of rounds. A minute left on the clock as Crack sits towards middle. He's expecting pressure to come through here. Both sides have definitely favored that, but this time it seems like the majority, at least, is going to be leveled into this late B-side push, and that's exactly where Kiwi waits and watches.
Yeah, they've concealed their hand as well. The drone coming around won't spot him out. So Kiwi's able to catch him by surprise. Demon 1 staying at the bottom.
They're running
of that
back.
Scoreboard. Viper's Pit used. This is great. EG are avoiding the powerful ult,
20
avoiding
seconds,
the operator as well, but they've got to be quick. They've got to run head first into this KJ setup. Do they have a knife on the way through? Not online
I think
for
it's already
Cracks.
hit.
Not online for Ethan. Onto the back of the site, the nade is in. It's forcing them out into the open, but they're just taking the fights, winning them as they go. The plan desperately trying to be found. It comes at the cost of Com's life. Ethan left on the spike all alone and flooded by FUT. 11 rounds turned to 12, and somehow it's FUT with map point.
I don't know what's going on. EG are looking like they're crumbling. A late switch up after walking into that operator of Kiwi. It's going to be one of the freest shots he's probably had all day. Nothing to really force him off the angle. And then just hightailing it. Maybe hoping that they baited a rotation of Ada Captain and Mr. Fallen, but they didn't move even for a second. And then by the time the push came in, the full cavalry had arrived. This has been a 5-round streak. 7 of the last 8 going the way of FUT. Their defensive side ever formidable. And now EG have one last chance. Otherwise, they're going to have let a map slip from 9-3 in the lead. And the Turkish roster will have themselves a 1-0 position. They're ready for Kiwi. They're watching for him. This time, he's not going to find that initial fight.
It was close on the follow-up as well, but his dash is gone now. That's a big factor. Mobility limited, and in fact, completely taken away. Kiwi still able to get one, hunted down. Orbital strike comes in. Demon 1 needs to move quickly. He'll be caught on the way back out. Sure, 1 kill for FUT, but it might not be enough. Ada Captain still with a massive clutch in front of him. The first not even found, tagging up Boostio. Teammates repositioning, and a lifeline for EG with overtime secured.
The crowd could breathe for a moment. They have brought this one all the way back from the depths. It was looking like a done deal after the streak of rounds that was had, but back to basics. Again, we're going to see that Hunter tree every time. It almost seems like when that ultimate is online, EG just can't lose themselves the round, and the disruption caused, the opener found by Demon 1, and they are still living in this map. OT, everything gets reset. No ultimates online across the board, and still a chance that they could take their map choice, but now for FUT, they're going to go onto that attack side. Interestingly, something we didn't see too much of, Kiwi's going to go for the operator. Try and deny some of that early aggression coming out of the side of EG. They were quite happy to try and challenge for map control, but in this round at least, a much more passive stance.
That recon caught a few of the FUT players outside of A. Information for EG, not really reacted to. If anything, they go lighter on this A side. Start to move around. But it's FUT grabbing control, leaving a player on each extremity. We've seen this from them before. These are the much slower rounds they like to attempt, and find their own opportunities as the round unfolds. Let EG make a mistake. For now, that certainly isn't happening. A lot more presence from this defensive squad around the middle area and around these spots that Kiwi has historically loved to just sneak and slip his way into.
Look at this double up, though. 2 players here. The expectation of Boostio will be there. The pop flash good, and Demon 1 is already going to double up, looking for a little bit more. No trade to be had. Kiwi looking like he was considering going back in here. In the meantime, we've seen the walk up on long, but you can already witness on the map that Boostio is firmly watching towards this. It seems like Kiwi trying to maybe bait some sound cues of presence on the other side and leaving Boostio somewhat alone. He's actually going to go forward, maybe gifting his opponents a chance, but also being a bit of a snake within the grass, not expecting him to be up this close. 10 seconds now for FUT to try and find something within this round. Mr. Fallen, he's got a plant. He's got to go for it right now. No, in fact, there's absolutely no time. Everybody has to die, and it is not going to be happening. He might kill off the majority, but EG will get themselves the round.
Com jumping for joy to close out that round. Yes, 13 now for EG, and in a map that they were leading from the very get-go. They now finally have the chance to close it out for the first time. It's been an impressive stand from FUT. After just 3 rounds in the first half, I didn't believe in them making it even close to this kind of run. And as we said, we knew that their defense would be good. Once again, it will be tested as they stand on their defensive side, 13-12. Again, that op is going to be bought up by Kiwi here in overtime.
They do it again. The one thing that really worked for them, that last round, dash, sprint, straight into this B side, and already the fake smoke is what takes out his opponent. It was a bait, just utilized. Nice trade though from Mr. Farland, keeping things even for the moment. Cracks trying to pounce, holding that backline, maybe expecting there to be a bit more of a repeat, but that early fight has quickly diminished. And just look at the majority of EG. They're backing away from this one, but
Spike's
so are FUT.
Spike's out. Grouping up with Jogamo and Calm, the first to leave this site. Calm on his way to A. They're sticking around. 50 seconds, still some time to make a decision. And most importantly, this is where you expect a flanker to come through or a player on the side of FUT to overextend to grab information. They'll look to punish.
They've tried to use the knife against their opponents. Now Cracks will finally spot that this is the place where EG look to make the stand. Boostio blinded up. Cracks watching, but it's Marge instead, and it's a slaughter! They don't even get anywhere close to planting that spike, because FUT will put them down on B. It's defensive round after defensive round again, as we will continue this one into OT.
Yeah, the repositioning of Maj. These players were swinging through to try and deal with Cracks, who'd been spotted moments ago. It popped that little flash around the corner, timed perfectly with the knife that came in. Although the abilities were down and out, they weren't needed at that point. This is where EG could start to feel frustrated. This map already gone on a lot longer than they expected it to when they shifted into that second half. 13-13, and FUT call a timeout. They're going to gather themselves ahead of this attacking round, which is fair. It's where most of the trouble has been.
Yeah, I think it's the perfect place. Give guys a chance to see if he can find a gap. If he spotted anything over the last few rounds within this defense. It's definitely not been easy to really find any mistakes being made by EG, because both teams have just been happy to play super passively, like almost wait for their opponents to make a slip up. And in the last round, it was more so just a slight change in setup. We've seen this the majority of rounds where EG have had that almost contact deep within mid. Instead, they played that close cubby. They had Demon 1 there waiting to catch FUT off guard, and it worked. So now it's almost going to be a game of cat and mouse to work out where EG have set that trap, where they've placed that superstar jet, and for FUT, well, if they can catch him before he does too much damage.
That's what it's all about. You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. Just roll the dice and steam in towards the site. EG's defense, as we said, this is where most teams are putting up the rounds. Another chance to set up a map point. This is their map pick that's being contested for so aggressively. Speaking of aggression, nothing but W keys here. The side of FUT looking to very quickly pressure that B site. More players than usual here, though. EG stacked up with 3, ready for this kind of just sheer muscling of the site. Boostio hasn't been spotted at all, and he's getting them all, breaking apart this attacking side piece by piece. His 3rd in the round. And 14 found another chance to close it out.
It seems like both teams have decided to go for the same sort of strategy. This rush B taken back from, well, the echelons of time. Something that has been tried through multiple esports and failing once more, it seems. A close angle not cleared, and for FUT, that's the blunder. Now we get to see what EG have to offer, and more so, they're going to take exactly the same pause as their opponents. I wonder if we're just going to get another rush off the back of it, maybe try and play the mind games and then do exactly the same thing, but I almost have to feel like the A site might be due a little bit of love here, Mitch, because the B site definitely hasn't been working for either of these teams.
Especially with some of those rounds that have gone a little quicker. W key strats, and especially for FUT, that's a go-to for a Turkish squad to pull out the quick sucker punch. They were on guard, ready and defending. EG here in this timeout, you can see a lot being said, but it's coming to a close, and we'll have to see what their attacking strategy is.
I hope it doesn't cut to me after that.
I was thinking the opposite, but all right. See how it is. Well, Tom, round 28 about to kick off, and one key difference here, Kiwi doesn't have that operator.
No, it's been something that both teams have been dabbling in, but I think just having that maneuverability, allow for the quicker rotations, and especially with the amount of spams we've had through smokes, it doesn't seem like it makes the most sense. Also, they're going walkabouts, destroying that turret early, but it's the double down, allowing them to know that there's at least a player on either side. Pop Flash could completely decimate Moj. He's just trying to escape. Both players actually caught by the blind, but somehow he actually comes out with a kill. Kiwi looking like he wants to try and capitalize off that, but will eventually be forced back. Not going to go for an overextension, and again, the early fight comes up even.
Yeah, I think Kiwi's idea was to get out there and help his teammate Moj while he was still alive. You know, lock down that extra angle for him and fight for mid together if his buddy was going to be stranded. But once he falls, the correct decision's absolutely to fall back. Holding on to this control a little bit later towards the doors. And we have seen Boostio with a couple nasty flanks. This time his timing is near perfect, and he'll catch two for his trouble. A triple in the round already, and a nail in FUT's coffin. They managed to pick up Jogamo, remove smokes and some utility at least, and they immediately read it. FUT expecting this EG squad to double back and move towards A, and that read could not be better.
Oh, timing is everything. He's probably heard the steps of them running all the way back around. Kiwi has the perfect flank. The turret's still yet to be pulled back for Boostio, so we'll have no knowledge at this point. He's been spotted. Now looks to maybe face back in the other direction, but he hits the shot anyway! Just taking over this round! It took some time for Evil Geniuses, but their map choice eventually goes their way. They're going to be kicking things off, and well, for the other side of FUT, as said, they showed resilience in that first map. I want to see if they've still got it here. Have they been able to reset going into their choice? It's definitely where they're favored.
Well, Flash going down deep to start it up. We've already got the barriers up and a fight about to come through. Jogamo, although we'll give up that control. Start to slowly fall back towards the A site. Stacked up as it is, though. I think it's fair to say FUT are leaning in towards the very site that EG want them to hit. Very, very close, just on the edge of that smoke. Boostio, though, has managed to sneak right by them, and it'll obliterate from behind on short. 3 kills and 2 players left in the bathroom. The spike down in the open, and this round already in the hands of EG. Look at the repositioning from Calm. I think he might just rob away the potential for that ace to come through. Oh, he's missed the shot, though. Maybe a chance. I don't want to see him get the kill. I want to see Boostio go for the fight, but Calm's being pressured. He won't give up his life for the ace.
Had a captain. He's going up against a full lineup of players. He's not going to get anything done there. It's going to be EG to take themselves the pistol round. And again, it seems like Boostio is so good at positioning himself ready for whatever is planned. Like, the whole idea there is to pop flash straight through the smoke, using that KO to basically garner you that extra space. So he just plays close to that utility, avoids any flash, and just has a perfect backstab on the players of FUT. Pistol round going their way. A good start to the defensive side again, where we kind of expect the majority of rounds to come through for either of these sides. And for now, at least. Early pop flash. I like it. The pop flash through in towards showers. Try and find any early aggression. Instead, it's going to be in towards lamps. This is just classics, though, Mitch. Like, realistically, any damage here is a win.
Yeah, that's why you see the utility thrown out, just trying to push these players into an uncomfortable fight. Or even make them go down to the util alone. Oh, no, there it is. The nade with the double. Serious damage done. And that pretty much neuters any possibility for these weaker weapons on FUT. EG with a solid follow-up. They could have afforded to even lose a player here pretty comfortably, but not even a hope.
Oh, I like these sort of maps. This is where you get to see Jogamo kind of move away from that controller and pick up that raise, as we see on the likes of Split. He can have a little bit more fun, be that a little bit more aggressive. And already getting off to a flyer of the start. Not too many ultimates online, and you look at the weaponry, it's actually quite light going in for EG. You can already see Demon 1 with enough to buy an operator into the next round, but this time out, they haven't opted for it. Actually just sprinting straight down. I don't know how they managed to win this early fight with the weaker weaponry, but they're going to be very happy with that one.
Poison's off.
Let's see how much Jogamo can get done. Oh, he's gone out wide. Nade up top. It's bouncing back, and, well, it's not even playing a role in that. Somehow the Stinger wins out the fight, and EG are looking phenomenal in a round that they should have been able to do some damage in, and instead they're in a 4 versus 1. An ambitious play from Jogamo, and it works out because he left Maj on 20 or so HP. A 3rd round found for Evil Geniuses, and a start to this map similar to what we saw in Pearl.
Yeah, the differences with Pearl, though, is that they took a risk. They bought an operator up. Yeah. They used their extra finances to basically make that round much more viable. This time they didn't. They had a pistol. They still had a Stinger. They just went pushing all the way down in towards the fountain and won 2 fights that, well, I don't know how they managed to take that victory with a couple of players waiting. It's got to be frustrating for FUT, and while they've witnessed the Guardian on the other side, it seems Maj has some ideas of his own. Jogamo, however, is already going to take a lot of early space and do a little bit of damage through. Oh, not again.
Of course, Boostio up close, and the flash doesn't even catch him. And the spam's good enough to take one down. Then look who steps up, and look who steps back down. Boostio very quickly dealt with.
Oh.
The spike's in the open, can be defended. That push up from Maj, the one weapon they have to work with now. A few more on their hands potentially, but Ethan through the teleporter he goes, and the reward is tenfold. They know where Maj is, and the Seeker only confirms it even further, locking him into a box. 8 bullets left in that magazine. We look to reload it. Well, he's going to have to fairly soon. Snakebite out, player caught, but no punish. And all the while, it's a slow flank from Demon 1, biding his time. With the spike picked up, Maj will look to go elsewhere, but look who's there.
No,
it's Ethan.
It's Ethan. It's the player he knew was there all along. Another big round from it. I do feel like that is just the way that Ethan plays. It's like when they need a hero, he arises, because the start of the round was great for FUT. Able to win a lot of those early duels. I think you see the confidence coming through from Boostio, attempting to try and push through that smoke. Again, like we've already seen FUT manage to bring back a huge deficit, but...
All right, then. Look, I mean, they're happy enough with a 4-0 lead after the 3rd round going their way.
Oh,
even with the economic damage they just received, it's not enough to really deter them, to really put a dent in this side. And as we can see, operator in play. Demon 1 has a TP set up and looks to use it for an early pick. No opportunities given yet, but if Maj wants to cross back, well, it depends. Demon 1's giving up the angle.
So they've used the knife early in towards B long, maybe expecting that that's where he'll be. And that knife not finding him, while the bullet landing in Maj's head will instead give them that information. It seems like FUT had an idea of how to counter and just guessed the wrong place.
A lot of utility put out here. I think they're certainly getting the read on this B-side play on the way through. It's going to be ignored as Kiwi makes it to the site. A flank attempted around through elbow that's being caught. Jogamo.
What?
Showstopper got nothing, but the rifle gets 2, and the nade would have been enough to close it. Yeah, got to step away from his own nade at the end. 5 rounds in all. EG barely breaking a sweat so far.
I don't even think, like, I'll be honest, that second shot didn't look like he was aiming anywhere near him.
Not even close.
It just full sprint spraying, but it works out. I think he does most damage to himself through the Molotov, and it's just ridiculous. Manages to survive the round as well, and we are in the same boat as the last map. 5-0, EG running away with this. The early fights of Demon 1 still yet to die, by the way. And the ult's starting to build up for FUT. Maybe there's something they can send into this round. A Showstopper, Orbital Strike, or Viper's Pit for post. If they can get into a position. Top flashing through the smoke early in the round, but just look how passively the defenders are. They know what's online. They know the ults are available. They're not looking to get in those sort of fights.
Oh, that snake bite actually got very close to cracks as the smoke went down. That could have been bad. Kiwi even got tagged up down vulnerable. Now he's out with the showstopper in hand. Jogamo again, able to take 2 before falling. The damage done with Kiwi and Crack so very, very low. And looks like Maj just joined the club. Sure, they've got the site, they've done the damage in Viper's Pit. Now that could be the difference maker for Maj. 56 HP, staying alive inside of it will be a real challenge. He's managed to buy himself a bit of time, but there goes the orbital strike and there goes the Viper's Pit. Crack's left on his own, and with a Sheriff in hand, he stands no chance of taking down the demon that is Demon 1.
Oh. Oh. How dare you? How dare you? Twitter's going to go wild at that one. Sorry, X or whatever it's called now.
People are going to be reposting that all day.
Yeah, they're going to be reposting that everywhere.
They call it now.
6-0. I was surprised they used the Viper's Pit. A bold call. I understand it. Maybe starting to feel a little bit desperate. Jorgamo as well. You could just see it. Every single fight he takes. It might seem risky, but he's winning all of them. Again, still 3 ults to play with. 1 for Com as well. That Viper's Pit maybe utilized to lock down showers. He's set up there at the beginning of the round, but I'm more interested in Demon 1. 6-0. Still yet to die. And that's with, even with these risky pushes, he's even expecting the players on the other side. Timing is everything, but finally, he'll be put in the grave. Moj not falling for the same tricks as the last round.
Yeah, holding the pixel angle and finally giving him his first death. Demon 1 dealt with in round 7. But there's plenty more facets to this squad, and Jogamo being right behind you is certainly one of them. He's got his way up behind the entire team. He's spotted though. Cracks knew that he was there. Blast pack good though. Throws off Maj's aim. And with some support from Boostio's gone running through the wall. They've managed to drop the spike. Got some decent control. The flash coming in, an aid on the back of it. And they are seizing control over this spike. It's not going to be given up, not today. Even running through a nade. That'll get Jogamo his 3rd of the round. Add a captain with a 1v2 to clutch out. Orbital strike online, but he's stunned up. 1 HP. And around the corner he goes. He's made it out. And with a post-plant orbital strike, maybe he still has a chance.
Tagged by the Tiger.
30 seconds left.
I thought he was dead to rights. Very nearly was. He'll get himself into an afterplant. It would be one hell of a way to finally take themselves around, but he's up against Com. All reliable. Someone who has been devastating to them in the first map, repositioning in towards the defender's spawn, just basically waiting as he wraps all the way back around. The fact is, time is not on the side of Com. He can't really take this one slow because that orbital strike is going to buy a lot off the clock, and that's all that a captain is playing for. Just waiting those extra few seconds. He's going to get caught a little bit. He can't go anywhere near that snake bite though. And now the time ticking so low. At a captain, he can't move. He's got to wait for at least a second, but the time is already gone. He'll be able to win it. The 1 HP Red Bull clutch. And FUT finally have a round. Attaboy. I love these. They're great.
I had a captain. I don't know how he's gotten away with that one, but the first is on the board for FUT, coinciding with the first death of Demon 1. Jogamo put his back into that round.
He deserved the round win.
He did. That not just that second kill, but here he sees a nade, hears it coming towards him, and thinks, I'll just go running in. I'll take the fight. I think we all felt that. Well, a timeout's being called by FUT after that round. Sure, they've got 1 up, but they're looking for a few more on this attack side.
Yeah, I think it's almost maybe just having to calm the heart rate of a few of the players. A 1 HP clutch is not something you're going to see every single day, and it definitely wasn't a clean round. The scarier thing as well is Tour de Force available, Showstopper as well for Jogamo. Okay, it wasn't the most effective thing in the last round, but for now at least, for FUT, this needs to be the beginning of something and not just a straight reset back to round losses. As said, they lost that last map after an incredible comeback. And although I think no matter who they play, if they were to go into the cider, they'd probably be favorites. You don't want to leave that up to chance. A spot in the top 8 awaiting either of these teams for Evil Geniuses, an expectation for FUT. Hey, that would be a huge statement to make. The first Turkish team to do that in history.
Yeah, they're already accruing accolades game after game here at Champions. still with that lower bracket beckoning them.
There.
Wouldn't be the end of their run. But imagine taking down Evil Geniuses, the #1 American seed, would be a huge accomplishment.
Oh, this is
ulti. Mr. Fallen's decided against it, but now they've seen the player close. It is going to go right back to that defaulted plan. And a lot of players caught up, but still Demon One is ready on this angle, and the shot, a rare miss for Demon One. An opportunity for his opponents to capitalize on him with Ethan falling. They've just locked the defenders into hookah. B-side is theirs.
They know that there's a couple of players in here, but knowing and dealing with them is a different thing altogether. The problem is that no command online, the tour de force, isn't currently available. Krax is already going to pick off one, but they know who the other player remaining is, and Moj on a nasty lurk is going to pick off Boostio. A chance for this clutch, a 2 versus 5. Looks slim, but the fact is the finances on EG are not bad. They could risk throwing a couple of players in here, but they might just back away to hold on to the guns.
Well, that might not be too easy. Let's check Maj's position. Demon One caught off guard. Ulti down, so too is the rifle. And the saving going to be very limited for the side of EG. This is a great response from FUT. I don't think it could have went much better in that round, especially Demon One having that whiff to start it off, missing the shot, then removing his ultimate altogether. That has certainly set them up for success. Timer ticking low towards the end of the round. That spike detonating as we speak. And they haven't found Calm. He's nestled his way into the bathroom. Rifle shall be carried through.
Yeah, a prime gaming flawless as well for FUT. The best possible way to actually break back into this one. Get the finances flowing once again. And as I said, for the other side of things, it's not really any problems. Demon One is going to invest back into that operator, so he'll have that for this round. Okay, light shields, but that's never really been a problem for anybody. And that showstopper still sits online, and that's the difference. FUT over the last couple of rounds have had some ultimates to play with. The Nightfall, no command used in the prior round, and again, we're going to see the aggressive flash. I like the fact that you can see Adacaptain actively backing away at this stage. He does have the spike, though, so that might be the reason.
Yeah, don't think you're going to want to go swinging in there, especially when you'll expect Demon One to be around every corner at this point. He's been repositioning round after round. This time just sat on back B site. FUT maybe sensing it. They're on their way to A. They've chosen the right site. It's lighter. The FUT setup from Maj going to allow them to creep up close. Not just the wall, but also the orb that's in play. And, well, Maj has just taken down Boostio. That's going to prompt Calm to get out of town. Move towards the spawn and play the retake with the rest of his squad, and that's exactly what he's doing.
An early advantage. Potential showstopper for the retake, but utility has been used to hold them back a little longer. Couple of flashes still for Krax. Unusual to see that this late into the round, so definite potential, but we are going to see the lamps being cleared. The timing doesn't work out, though. And a captain finding another Kiwi, ever crisp, and Demon One almost just having to look for exit frags. He's eventually given the fight, but Kiwi takes his head from his shoulders, leaving just Ethan to stop this one being another flawless. He will. But other than that, FUT, they have found their footing in this game, starting to build back in.
That's what it's all about on the attacking side, just finding your legs. They've done that. Oh, and they've done it by finding Ethan too. Although he'll be dropping out of captain, there's no one else to swing that corner. So again, the rifle brought through to the next round. With this attacking side now building up 3 in a row, I wouldn't be surprised it. Well, there you go. See, Evil Geniuses call a timeout as they'll gather themselves up ahead of this. I mean, look, it could be an equalized half if things keep going this way. And you're seeing Kiwi with the confidence to swing in, take down Demon One, not even with the operator. Certainly worrying times for this squad.
Yeah, I think it has to be said that expectations for this map in general is that you're going to see the rounds on that defensive side, similarly to Pearl. So I think making sure that this ends up as like a minimum, a half victory, but more so edging towards that 8-4, maybe even a 9-3. That's what the goal will be at this stage. Again, Seekers online, but nothing really else available, and with a showstopper close for Kiwi and him starting to really get going, it It's interesting what we're going to see actually invested here. It doesn't look like it's going to be a full buy. The tour de force not even close to being online. And actually, since Demon 1 being 6-0, it's been 3 deaths in a row. Maybe the difference, him not being able to get those early kills and potentially even Jorgamo cooling off a bit, which in the early rounds, he was the main devastating force for FUT, was that he just didn't seem to die in scenarios where he probably shouldn't have lived.
I mean, he's still sitting 12-6. You got to say, it's been a good half for him so far. Jorgamo, a little bit more maybe needed on this defensive side. With 3 rounds left to play for, they're not really competing in this one. Now, look, we've seen EG win rounds with this kind of a bye, with worse of a bye, so don't count them out by any means. But they're opting to put most of the resources into round 11. Maybe try to close this one out on an 8-4 half. It wouldn't be a bad score. We'll see. As we said, still potential for them in this one here. And even with Demon 1 on the Classic, you know that Headhunter is in play. Not right now for 4 seconds, but after that.
It's patient, though, from FUT. Not overextending, not giving anything away. And with those smokes, the Brimmy smokes being burnt out over on that defensive side, they're basically just waiting, not wanting to get caught off. We've already seen the shenanigans of Boostio around this close position. Looking like just waiting to see if anybody will make a mistake. The Tiger going through, clearing out. It doesn't leave too many positions still available for them to be in, with the flashes going out long at the same time. Nice counter nade, but it's Jorgamo to take the majority of the damage. I think most of that was just off the Viper wall.
That same wall on the defensive side going up now to block them out. Jorgamo lost his life, tried to peek in for info towards the A site. And he's gone down with the wall still up. It's robbing them of info. EG might think that there's already players crept up on A, making their way in through the site. And, well, they'd be right if that was where their minds went. Having fallen back a bit, Boostio sold that they're not still holding this angle, but Calm has got a spot of his own. Up top, hasn't been spotted, and he'll actually delay the plant. He's tucked away. Oh, not quite fully around the corner. Kiwi's able to deal with him, and it looks like that plant is going to come through eventually. It's not needed, with EG players flooding the site to deny the plant. They've instead lost the round. Or the spike can go down.
That is an incredibly cool idea.
I love
Just
it.
using the edge of his own poison orb up boosted on the top. That is not something I think any team will have been checking for. A nice little idea from Common. It almost wins them the round. Like, the time was getting devastatingly close. If he's able to just survive that little bit longer, maybe even get back around the corner, this could have been a problem. And bear in mind how low the purchase was. They got rid of a showstopper. It's not bad. Like, they burnt out a few weapons at that, although the finances of FUT are fantastic. And now they get that operator back into play, full purchase. See if they can now turn this into a round victory, because if FUT can even things up, they are definitely in the driver's seat.
So 2 rounds left to play for in the half. EG, as we said, are looking for that 8-round scoreline. They didn't fully buy up last round. They did some good damage, competed for the round, and even cost FUT some of their big ultimates, some of their utility. Now, as we move into round number 11, this is where they look to capitalize on all the work done before. Very passive stance. A lot of this Sky utility from Ethan's being used to lock down control, even over Bathroom late into the round. We've seen the Tiger go through. But Ethan spotted players on B long this time. And that might put a spanner in the works for the side of FUT. They wanted to sneak up and get close. Now, as they look to move in towards this B site, even with the knife thrown over on A, they're going to be expecting that this is a B play.
Yeah, especially with the flash. That's why these Sky flashes are so vital. Just trying to find any information. 35 seconds left, and the nade will be comboed. Looking to come out hookah. There are a multitude of players waiting here, and now Ada Captain has been able to get that orbital strike online. Molly into the corner. They could just try and clear this player out of the tube, but instead, they're going to go doubling back. Demon 1 now about to be under pressure, just having to jump out of position. He can't quite correct the aim in time. FUT again, they're going to get their entry, and Ada Captain is just tearing this side apart. Kiwi so aware of the flank coming through as well. It is meticulous from FUT. These quick rotations, these split-second decisions have been sublime over the last 5 rounds.
Yeah, you saw the idea to move towards B. They get spotted. They pump the brakes a moment. Not sure where they want to take it. And after that flash comes through, I think they were all aligned. They knew the game plan. The fact that Captain is able to not just drop Demon 1 after his first kill, the ultimate putting him out of position on an uncomfortable angle, but even deliver with the fight towards the spawn. That's the big difference maker, and it's put EG on the back foot for the final round.
I think the thing to focus on as well is how Mr. Fallen and Krax are constantly using their initiator utility to sell ideas. You'll see a knife land from the other side of the map. Prowler sent through one, but it's on a lurk, and then you just have Moj constantly placing in here. Nice work from Ethan, though. And he does have some support. He doesn't even need it. This man seems to be the master of the SMGs. It was the Stinger in the last map, the Spectre in this one. And after a 5-round streak, this is the best chance they've had. But Demon 1 will again go amiss as Mr. Fallen has managed to take him down.
But look at what the weaponry that EG have brought in. 2 judges that'll have to retake if they lose this B side. I mean, they've got to maintain control. Orbital strike in play, it's causing problems. Ethan's going to be dropped after the 1, but Krax went down to the ulti. Boostio still holding strong on the side, buys them a little bit more time, and now it's those judges from before. The nade in good position, but he can't follow through. It forces him out of his spot into the open, but that's not good enough with a judge in hand. 4 bullets. Mr. Fallen needs to swap that over. He knows where that player is coming from now at least, so the plant can be found. I like the... Oh. Sorry, I was going to say I liked Calm's idea to reposition down through long and grab one of the weapons. Instead, he is going all the way around.
It's definitely the least expected of all of the options. I don't think there's any world where Mr. Fallen is watching back towards the spawn. This is the most 5-head play I think I've ever seen. There's no reason for Mr. Fallen to begin to check this, but it has come into his head that this could be the chance! I don't know how Mr. Fallen read that one, but it's the ace to bring this 6-6 on the half. The big brain IGL evening things up, and, well, a streak back from either side. FUT have leveled it at the break.
A 6-6 scoreline. This started out convincingly in EG's favor, and now starting to slip away. An ace even to close this one out. As we said, the judges on the retake, they have a pretty big disadvantage. Even a classic in that final fight that leaves Mr. Fallen on 2 HP. It's a narrow margin, but that's the margin by which FUT get back into this game. Well, the map 3 certainly still a possibility with Ascent just around the corner. Defensive side for FUT, EG on attack shouldn't be able to net as much power as they did before, and 6 straight rounds. Let's talk about momentum. It's certainly in the field of FUT right now. So let's see if EG can change things up, if their attack is where they'll find a lot more success. You never know after what FUT just displayed for us there.
Well, that's the thing with EG. They've been very good at when they need to pick up the rounds, they do. We saw the streak back in the last map, and they still closed it out in overtime. The last round is what they took, and instead, FUT could be set up here for a 2-0 victory if they'd managed to close out that comeback. Instead, though, again, a tentative start from either side, patiently watching for any aggression, but it is, again, passive, patient Kiwi watching. Sheriff just trying to boom heads on the other side, and instantly all of the Viper utility goes up, the smokes raining down from above, and an attempted plant as the spam comes through, but it doesn't look like there'll be a denial this time.
Nope. No way to stop that spike from being planted. EG had some ideas to go aggressive afterwards, but they've fallen back into defaults. Nice crossfire to play with, Jogamo. First point of contact, and then the swings come in, but he went a little too wide. No one able to trade out on that. FUT managed to find themselves a duel for free. Calm under pressure as well. Players starting to get close to him towards the bath. Now another for FUT as they desperately try to hold on to control. EG are just being pushed back. Hardly any damage being done by this squad as FUT steamroll in the pistol and find a 7.
Yeah, they do have to get themselves the defusal, okay, you know, and Kiwi taking his time to go back and get himself that orb. Maybe surprised that he's the one who needs it, considering it's actually Moj to get the majority of the kills in that one. Well, having a little bit of fun themselves, but no, a big start to this one. We've seen both teams on that defensive side claim the pistol, and considering a Prime Gaming flawless from a 5v5 retake, it's not something that really comes with high expectations. Something else that might be surprising as well, though, is that with that plant, even with no kills alongside it, EG may be looking to break this trend of 7 rounds a little bit early. They have invested heavily, even though you might see a classic onto Demon 1, that is all in on Headhunter bullets, and the rest have gone for those stingers.
Well, they're certainly grouping up, trying to use the numbers advantage to their favor, but they've lost Boostio to begin. Jogamo down to 45, still able to get 2! You've got to be joking! This guy running around, grabbing a heel, somehow not dealt with there, and then he's looking to fight. Long range with a stinger on Damage. Now low HP, pressured from every which side. Still somehow clinging on to life, but that doesn't last too much longer. EG, 7 rounds in a row they lost, and this is the one that they come out on top in. It's thanks to Jogamo, who had been quiet for a while. Well, that certainly reawakened him.
I think it is something that was beautifully brought up on the desk by Bala. It's the supportive flashbangs. The pop over the top here from Ethan that made those 2 of the freest kills for Jogamo. Sure, he still had to hit the shots, but when both of them are completely blind from a sky flash from above, there's just so little that they can do about it. And that trend is broken. A huge, thrifty victory coming through on that side of things. And now, well, again, it's going to be the low investment coming out from FUT, a real chance to finally get themselves a lead in this map, and instead now they're just getting mowed down. Com with a double. Not really a chance to retrieve any weaponry.
Yeah, look at that. The close is just as clean. What a resounding response from the Evil Genius side. The attackers building up rounds already. Interrupted the win streak of FUT, and most definitely upset them, putting them on the back foot now. They've got a full buy up on both sides. The EG squad might have some bonus material coming through, in particular Ethan just on that Spectre. They're going to be doing many of the same things that we saw from FUT, especially that Viper wall on A. It's just a key part. I think Nats was the first one to really bring it to the international stage. Everyone's been doing it since. That is ridiculous. Another tally down there in the crowd, please. That one was straight through the smoke.
Yeah, big start to the round as well. Bear in mind that even though the finances are great for EG, this still somewhat works as a bonus. A few weaker weapons in play, and the risk taken to get the orb definitely not paying off. Kiwi up top, up close. Something that you can definitely spam for. It's not going to be through a smoke, but it definitely could be through a wall if they are looking to try and clear this spot. The execution looking inevitable, and the information seemingly there. It's in with a showstopper and out of the round for Kiwi.
Not a bad trade, though, being able to take Jogamo down just as the trigger was pressed. So FUT, they're behind only by 1 on the way back through. Post-plant setup is strong, though. EG grouping up inside of Lamps. That could cause major problems. Nade down in the corner. It's trying to clear out players into the open, but it's Boostio to find that frag instead. Great flash, but somehow they're still on top of it. Cracks and Mr. Fallen, both finding kills. The spike now can be tapped to bait these players into the open. Ethan will be caught as the wall drops, but not eliminated, even with a Spectre. He wins out that fight, and with 40 HP, Mr. Fallen surely is down and out of this round. Great damage, but the time too far gone.
Yeah, he's just going to have to leave that one, unfortunately. He's been having a great few rounds, but it isn't quite enough. And again, it's another round on the board for EG. We said it. We expected this one to be the defender's paradise for FUT, but the early battles going in their direction, and then just the effective trade-outs coming through. The weaker weapons never a deterrent for players like Ethan, and now sat 9-7 in the lead. It's looking like maybe a bit of a hero rifle onto Mr. Fallen, obviously saved over from the last round, and in fact he's going to hand that off potentially to another teammate, maybe just allowing them to get the extra shields. For now at least it still sits in his hand.
Oh, what a shot by Demon 1! Another as he follows up, and he's standing strong, baiting Kiwi in for more! 3 quick kills! And EG have put this one to bed. The crowd demanding an ace from this man. You know what? The other 2 opponents are on the right side. Maybe he's got a chance.
Yeah, the rest of the team are actually pushing in the other direction. It just depends if there is going to be that rotation for him, just a chance to fight into this one alone, clean up the entirety of FUT, put them down as we've seen him do so many times before. A couple of players waiting and he has the chance to fight them. There's the first on the battle, but it isn't going to be happening this time. And a captain takes him out, but he has made space for the rest of the team. Just going to be getting that plan, even farming up the extra orbs for the next round. It is methodical from EG, making sure that no stone is left unturned before they get themselves into this next.
There you go. Orbital Strike now online for EG. That'll be used in the next round. And for this, FUT certainly want to go for it. They've got the economy to throw away. They've got 2 rifles retrieved. Earlier on, this was a Stinger and a Sheriff. So with these upgrades, they look to charge forward, see what damage they can deal, and right away it's Jogamo falling. Late flank from Calm. It's going to take quite a while. The plant spot not for it. Molly over already, and that Orbital Strike might be needed to close out this round, especially if the kills keep going this way. The swing through, and yeah, look, it's being set up. They're going to cost them an ulti already, which, look, it's better than it looked like it could be for this squad. They've even dropped Boostio on the way back out. The time ultimately too far gone, but the damage considerable.
Yeah, but that's been the main talking point of this second half, damage. Like there hasn't really been much else so far for FUT. They were put down very early in this round by some of the cleanest shots you're ever going to see.
Oh, the crowd's a little mixed on that one. Oh, we love to see it. Demon 1 certainly getting his confidence back. 14-9 right now. You've seen him with a far more convincing score lines for himself. Maybe you can praise FUT for how well they've avoided him at times, but yeah, certainly not in that last round. And maybe not in this one. The Tour de Force online and looking for some victims early on.
Yeah, this is a scary round. Already hyper-aggressive. Seekers have been thrown through. It looks like they're just executing directly off the back of it! In the air, dropped down from above! Death reigns onto FUT in this round! And with a Molotov burning them out, this round is already looking over! 2 players remain once again. Morge and Cracks in a similar position to what we saw in the last round. Do they even go for this? It looks like they're attempting it while hiding within. He actually survived.
Just about. Yeah, 7 HP, but that might deter you from going for this any further. Even the Viper's Pit down, well, it's online. It's not going to go down in this round, though. Not with that low of HP. Cracks has to open this one wide open for the squad, and he's caught Ethan. Okay, now there's an actual chance. They've seen the barrel in the corner. Demon 1 is down, and Calm miles away. They'll get this half before he even emerges around the corner. That's an easy kill onto the planter, just 1 HP. A fight now baited, but Calm, he is biding all the time they need. EG with another, and it's a Red Bull clutch for Calm.
The thing with this man is wherever you at least expect him to be, that's where he always turns up, never stays static for too long. He's so good at just switching up his position. You could see the players were watching back towards Hooker, expecting him to still be in that position. Exactly where you should expect him to be. But always repositioning, always playing the time. He's the exact man you want in those sort of clutch situations. And FUT, well, a last attempt to try and slow this one down. They have lost 5 rounds in a row, exactly the same as what we saw in the last half. It was 6 in a row before they really got going. The problem is they'll be fighting for overtime if it gets to that position again.
A ridiculous thing looking at Jogamo in this map, and certainly the previous round, you know, guy wasn't exactly playing the same role on the previous map. He couldn't do some of these flashy things. Yeah, the Astra's slightly more, I guess, nerfing to a player than what you're going to see from that Raze. And I want to see a lot more of Jogamo on this. It's 11-7, 4 rounds in the lead. And one thing that EG don't have in their favor is the ult economy. FUT are still able to buy. They've got a showstopper. Got themselves a Viper's Pit as well and a null command. So in a good spot in that regard. But it hasn't been a game of ultimates, really. Even at times where Jogamo has that showstopper, you'll see him fire it into a wall, damage himself, and then shoot 2 people in the head the most ridiculous way imaginable.
Here we go, though. But still have a purchase, some ults to play with, but just look at the sheer pace, just leading the way with the judge. It's got to be infuriating. Not the start that they were looking for, but they've at least got rid of him. I guess that's the silver lining. The man who's been causing so many issues is dead in this round. A lot of information garnered as well. The knife connecting onto multiple players. You can see the jump spot out towards long as well. Maybe spotting for any lurkers, any rotation back. But again, EG is what they love to do on the attack. Just pausing, stopping for a moment before re-aggressing.
It's the Tiger that gets them back out there to try and take some control. They've spotted cracks. The Viper's Pit, that's going to cut off, well, not fully cut off the spawn rotations, but certainly it's a big annoyance to them. And with the safety now around Lamps, it's a great spot to play from if they can get this spike planted. Now, that is a different task altogether, with FUT potentially having utility just like that to push them back. And they even have that showstopper later on if needed. 35 seconds. And again, they're waiting for a mistake to be made on the side of FUT. So far, that's not coming through. 30 seconds. They've got to move onto the site. Boostio can't get them the space they need. And now they look elsewhere, getting out through the teleporter and leaving the Viper's Pit to fall. FUT will have a 4 versus 2 retake, but there's no way to deny this plant.
No, that's at least something. Viper's Pit, of course, gone, expended on the other side, and this is definitely one of the best scenarios. Normally, Calm expected to be lurking back, but with no util, they're going to double up here. Know that they're a little closer around these angles, and just Lurker missed a fall, and it should be for free. Somehow Calm still managing to find one, looking for a little bit more, and they may have been low on health, but FUT will live to fight another day. Defusal coming through, a lot expended in this round for the Turkish side. But they will get themselves to 8, and maybe, just maybe, this can be the start of the build back.
That was a ton of damage done, but I like the idea on the way back through. Kiwi was like 39 health. You pop that showstopper, come around the corner, you probably don't even get a chance to see them, let alone readjust and fire. So instead, just uses the blast pack to push out his teammates a little bit, get out of Captain a wider angle, and triple peek it in a way where you just don't line up. I like to see that. Oh, I didn't see that for Jogamo. He's playing anti-flash on the way through.
I know, he jumped backwards to kill Moj. I think he jumped over his head and then shot him.
Well, got taken down after. Look, this is, it's a hiccup for EG. These kind of rounds are going to happen now. It's their real chance. Jogamo on the corner right away with the blast pack. They've denied them any B long control. They're going to just use the Tiger just in case somebody snuck back around that corner. And with that, they've got control over the orb, which is exactly what you want when Jogamo is 1 away from a showstopper. That's what I thought. But actually, they're just looking straight towards the site. Get that orb from a fight. Jogamo's being consistent with it so far. Boostio doing it for the first. But here's a showstopper on the other side. And low HP, Jogamo on 5. The nade has hunted him down.
Yeah, Demon 1's able to duck out of there, but the other players are left stuck around. Com's going to be spammed out through the wall as well. And now, well, we saw a crispy 3K earlier. He's going to need to find himself 50 seconds left. He's got time to play with, waiting for that Viper scream to fade. But there's still so much left to find. They know he's still around this angle, looking to peek him all together. The band of brothers that is FUT will be able to continue this climb back once again. And now, actually, the money's run out for EG.
Yes, time to penny pinch. This is the round where they've got their showstopper. Can't see them committing it. See just how close that was to the double up, but yeah, well, the nade was there after the 2 kills. You're in a pretty comfortable spot. 2 behind. It's been an incredible matchup for FUT so far. They've been hot on the heels of EG, but that's the story of the game. They've been behind, only barely taking the lead going into Pearl, and, well, weren't able to close it out. You gotta hope it won't be the same story this time around. Pistols.
Same in this one as well. Take the lead from the pistol instantly, lose the second. They've
right away
had their hands ever so close to a map, but there's still a very real possibility that this could end up as a 2-0. We've already seen these sort of rounds work well for the side of EG. The SMGs in the second. Jogamo is actually going to use that showstopper, but denied immediately. The null command will remove the one real threat that was in this round, but There is still going to be that after plant.
That's the thing, you know, EG have been scary in these post plants. Even with pistols, you gotta give them a chance. Jogamo not able to use his ultimate and will eventually go down. The rest of the squad now, you gotta wonder what else do they have. And I really didn't think we'd see that committed right now. The orbital strike and the showstopper used in a round they didn't fully invest into rifles for. They've got a molly for the post plant. Mr. Fallen goes down, he didn't get it half. That's a key detail because now FUT gonna really feel the pressure of that clock. Up close, Krax is dealt with. Another for Boostio, the same molly. And a snake bite down makes it so easy. They've done it. In a round where they had next to nothing, a MasterCard Thrifty is found, and EG are one away from taking the series.
Unbelievable. And even when it seems like this team have absolutely nothing to play with, the combinations of utility, the delay time was perfect, the Molotov, the orbital strike, you had the snake bites, the orb, everything combined, and then the shots connected by Boostio. It is understandable the frustration on the side of FUT's coach, because realistically this was the chance for them to finally get themselves back close to their opponents, and now they're close to a 2-0 defeat. A shotgun, a Viper's Pit used. That works. And an operator for Kiwi, but this is still not a good spot for them to be in.
A round up against pistols to put you in this position once again, but not having to win out one round to push up to an overtime, stay neck and neck. No, no, no. Much, much worse than that. 3 in a row against a squad of EG. They've done it with pistols moments ago. A showstopper used, got them nothing. An orbital strike delayed a matter of seconds. And it didn't even come down to the time in the end. For EG, this is a promising position. Tiger through, clearing out all of this space. And, well, they have, oh no! That shot to Kiwi. That might just have sealed their fate, because now they should go rotating, drifting towards that other side.
Whoops. Oh, it's amazing from Jogamo! I don't know if you'll see a kill like that ever again. He blast packs a boombar and then spams him through the wall. That is ridiculous. And now, just leaving 2 players standing between them. Impressive stuff as they all wrap back around. The orbital strike to delay, but it's left all onto Adacap. Dear one man standing, and he stands no more.